Okay. Hey, welcome back to Monday Morning Mom, my absolute favorite 15-minute snacks of the week. For those of you new here, my name is Erin, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Blueprint to Blue Chip, where we focus on helping athletes build their identity well beyond the game. And how I came into this space was I'm a mom of two athletes, and I designed something that I knew my athletes needed in order to excel, not only in sports, but in life. And so I designed a show with the concept of Dear Abby, for those that are maybe my age. But there used to be a newspaper column, and people would write Dear Abby and seek advice. And so I do the show for sports parents, moms and dads, who want to get advice on what's going on with their kids inside and outside of the sports realm. So we're going to jump right in, which I love doing. This is such an exciting time. And this letter comes from a mom, and I'll just get us kicked off. It says, Dear Erin, my son is a junior in high school. He's a baseball player. 2 years ago, I pushed him hard to transfer to a different high school, a powerhouse program with a coach who has sent dozens of kids to college ball. I convinced my husband, I convinced my son, and I told them both it was the opportunity of a lifetime and that staying at his original school would limit his ceiling. He transferred. He left his friends, his teachers, the program he had grew up in, the coach who knew him since he was 12. It's been 2 years. He is not starting. He's not being recruited the way I promised he would be. He has made a few friends, but nothing like he had before. And last month he said something to me that I have not been able to shake. He said, Mom, I was happy there. Past tense, I was happy there. I've been replaying every conversation I had with him before the transfer. Every time I reframed his hesitation as fear. Every time I told him he would thank me later. Every time I talked over his uncertainty with my certainty. I pushed him out of a life he loved for an outcome that hasn't come, and I don't know how to live with that. Convinced him of the wrong thing in Connecticut. Wow, that is a powerful letter. We have to be really careful in today's, I think, day and age, especially in sports, especially as parents. Where does our child's dream begin, and where do we start to get involved because we want it for them way too much? I was happy there. There's a lot to unpack here, a lot. Um, because again, I think I love it when parents see the potential in their kids. I think that's incredible. But you have to balance that with, what does the child see within themselves? What does the child want? You know, Finding the right environments is important. Sometimes we're chasing like that. We're chasing the school or program that's we think is going to get them there. Every child in today's day and age has the opportunity to excel wherever that they are at. And I think there's a couple questions that come to mind before you packed up and moved him. Did you sit down with his coach that had known him and really honestly talked about where he wanted to go, what he wanted to do, and what was his plan or strategy to help get him there? Did you do that? Did you give that coach an opportunity, or is it just like, well, I see all these kids getting uh, baseball scholarships to go play at the next level out of X school, so we better get over here because that's where all those kids are going? It's like, not necessarily. Again, we have to understand, and I think even for coaches that are listening in here, this is a good lesson for all of us, parents, athletes, coaches. How do we support the ecosystem around the kid? We're here for the betterment of the kid. Do we understand where they want to go, what they need, and how we can help them get there? How do we start to develop better communication between the coaches and the parents to help navigate a path, plan out a path, and first and foremost, ensure that the athlete wants it, that this is their dream and their desire. And mom and dad are just assisting along the way. They're just a support system to say, hey, we hear you, we see you, we understand you want to go play at the next level. How can I support you? But the kid ultimately has to own the waking up early, the doing the extra reps, getting to practice early. You can't want that or push that for them, and we sometimes override our our athletes' desires. Like, I'm your parent, I know best. Trust me, I have two kids. I tell them all the time, I've been 18, you haven't been 57 or 47. So ultimately, we have to understand that our kids also need us to listen to them when they're telling us they don't want to go. Continuously overriding that is a problem. And the reason why this probably didn't work out, honestly, mom, and you honestly need to hear this, is because you made it about yourself. It was never about him. You know, it was never about him. You made it about you rather than him coming to you and going, hey, mom, this would have been a whole different conversation. Like, I really think I need to go over to this school in order to get recruited. What do you think about that? Did you slow down? We also are in this very fast-paced world. Did you ever slow down and go, let's slow down and ask just a bunch of questions? Let's slow down and talk to the coaches. Talk to the coach at the current school, talk to the coach at the new school, really get a game plan and an understanding. And for the coaches, again, listening, parents and athletes need radical honesty. Okay, you want to play at the next level? This is what it's going to take in order to get there. It's not just a hope and a wish or a desire. It's this is where you're at, this is what you have to do, and this is how I can help you get there. This is the supplemental things your parents are going to have to do outside of this in order to help you get there. Like, it's no longer just I get to show up and go to practice. That's not enough anymore. Sadly, the world is very competitive, but the way we do it is what I think is getting lost here. And so I think the big misunderstanding here is your desire to want to help them out, but not understanding what is his desire, what's important to him. Friends, teachers, all of those things matter just as much as a great baseball team. Those things are setting him up for life, even if you don't see that. We also have to remember as parents is at some point your kid will not be playing sports. And that's just a reality. And so we need to understand that. Okay. So, how do we get in the passenger seat? How do we help with some amount of GPS and guidance, giving them the opportunity, teaching them how to communicate, teaching them how to ask questions, but ultimately not driving the bus? We have to slow down as parents. We all get enamored. I have been there, but it's like ultimately, I just need to support my kid. Does he have the tools that he needs? Does he understand where he's at? Does he understand how to receive feedback? Does he know what he needs to work on? We need, as a society, to come together and help assist these athletes. Coaches and parents, you guys are an ecosystem around them. They both have to work together. I talk to coaches a lot. It's like, I don't want to talk to parents about playing time and stuff. Let's shift the conversation to not about playing time, but what it is about the development of their student athlete that needs to take place in order for them to excel. You should be able to have that conversation with a parent to say, hey, Johnny's an incredible baseball player. Here's the things he needs to work on. Here's the path he needs to go on. Here's how I can support him, but here's the work Johnny's going to have to do, and you guys are going to need to support Johnny in if Johnny wants to go play at the next level. at this school. And so we have to do a better job of the ecosystem around the athlete. We have to do a better job with communication. And we need to remember that at the focal point of this is the student athlete. They're the ones driving the bus. How do we then get people around them aligned to do that? How do we empower our athletes to go ask questions, get the help that they need, have the coach understand where they want to go? I think most often where all of this breaks down is because of communication. And so I think this comes down to all of this could have been prevented had you just number one, listened, made sure it was his idea, that you took that into consideration, and that you really heard that. So this is about them. We're here to support. Do I see skills and talents in my children that they should do? Sure. But it has to be their idea. They have to be the one driving the bus. So I don't know where you are at, where this kind of left. He's finishing up school or he moving back to where he was happy. But I would say the lesson here is we need to listen, and the greatest form of communication is listening. Listen to your kids, hear what they have to say. Be willing to know that this isn't your idea, it's not yours. So with that, where's your name at? Convincing him of the wrong thing in Connecticut, you have an opportunity to just sit down and listen to your child. And for all of you other sports parents out there, I'd love for you to write in. Please do. I'd love to potentially eventually have some of you on the show. And I definitely welcome all the letters so that we can all elevate this space to provide a better experience for our athletes. I look forward to seeing you guys next Monday.